Welcome, everyone, to episode 163 of the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, recorded on this August 19th, 2021. I'm your host, Mark, and we welcome all of you joining us live on Twitch, or whether you're watching us video on demand, YouTube, or your favorite podcast app. We thank you all for joining us and making us part of your weekly DFFOO experience. Make sure to share some of that love. Give us a like, a sub, follow us on our social media, join our Discord, and continue the conversation throughout the week. As I said, I'm your host, Mark, and I am joined by my co-host, the insane clown pony, Mino. Spell good. Mino, how you doing today?
I wonder if how many people get that reference. I think that's pretty
old.
It. I think I dated myself.
ICP. You dated yourself with ICP.
I think so, right? Like, that's not a thing anymore, I think. But
they're still around. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they are. But I mean, so is, like, I forget. I was Billy Ray Cyrus or something. But that's,
so is Billy Ray. He is also still around. That is Hannah Montana's father, Billy Ray Cyrus. So
it's Hannah Montana. All right. Well, anyways, hey, Mark, this is exciting times because we get GL first content, but also bummed that I can't do it because we have the podcast. Like, I wish I was able to stream this. I might save it to stream it later, but oof, good stuff. Checking in personally. I'm so tired, Mark. Life is busy. Oh yeah, Mark, you know what? I learned today that you should always do the bare minimum at work. That's a lesson I learned today that I've really taken to heart. I don't know if you've already learned this. You have more experience than me, but it's a big deal.
Didn't a bear sing about that in the Jungle Book? Just do the bare minimum.
The bare necessities?
Yeah, isn't that what that song's about? Just not doing anything?
Wait, is that what that song's about?
I don't think so.
I honestly don't know at this point.
Taco says Billy Ray charted on Old Town Road, and so now thank you for getting Old Town Road stuck in my head because my kids love that song. And thank you for the follow. I forgot who followed, but I appreciate that. If you haven't followed us here, if you're watching live on Twitch, make sure to give us a follow. We appreciate that. We appreciate all of you who subbed and all those gift subs as well. Yeah, so the news of the day is we knew we were getting an event tonight as the show is recording. It just launched 13 minutes ago. It's the Equinox Aurora campaign, and it is a Perfectum event. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Interesting. But what we did not know is what the banner would be, and there was a lot of, it's got to be Setzer. Where's Setzer? Well, folks, it's not Setzer. And we knew that there was probably not going to be another TCC BT banner besides Rosa and Leon. So what did we get? We actually got a banner that we weren't anticipating until next week with Shantotto, Noctis, and Terra. We'll go through that in a little bit. So the campaign is underway. There are several different things. There's Chocobo panel missions. There's double crystals. You can get the 3 costumes for those characters I just mentioned, Noctis, Terra, and Shantotto. If you didn't pick up their costumes before, all of those are available, as well as Rosa's costume is available as well. Shantotto did get a rework. We will talk about that briefly. Mithrin says the Chocobo panels also give summoning points or wild points for your summon. So if you are not one of those compulsive people that ground 99,999 wild points for all of your summon boards, like me, you'll be able to get a few extra ones, and that will be good. So it's gonna be interesting to see
you
how
actually have max wild points, Mark?
No, not at all. I got like 15.
Oof.
I got like 15,000 in each board. So I mean, I barely have enough to upgrade a new character.
Okay, because that's next level crazy, and I really hope we
I
don't
did
personally
max
know
out.
anybody.
I did max out. Was Bahamut the final one? I maxed out Bahamut because that was so easy. So I had like 90,000 wild points on Bahamut. But there you go. So yes, Evil Kong, you beat me in something. Good luck. Good job. Good job. I'm glad that you can have achievements over me. Feel free to J.A. I have no wild points, 0 wild points, but that's okay. I appreciate all of your successes in whatever way they may come. Oh wow! Well, that's the big news. No Setzer. How are we gonna live? No rainbows. You can't taste them. You can't chase them. You can't. I don't know what people do with rainbows. No rainbows. And so we'll talk a little bit more about where the hell is Setzer. Well, yeah, Core gets rainbows. Yeah, thank you, Evil Kong. I appreciate that. Taste the rainbow. Can't taste the rainbow. Inkwelder hates that apparently. So that's I think Dystopia Bard did a little song about tasting the rainbow, because that's the Skittles thing. Yeah. So I don't think I don't think that's a lazy pun. Taste the rainbow. I don't know. You tell me. Well, hey, let's get Reno Lost Chapter out of the way, because that was garbage. And we'll talk more about this here in a second. So we are your DFFOO podcast. We have to talk about everything. Reno came back with a Lost Chapter. On that banner, you had Reno's LD boards and Rosa's LD. Let's talk about Reno first, since it's his Lost Chapter. He get his LD boards. Basically, he does more damage. So a little boost in damage. Reno does the same thing. If you're not familiar, he's a debuffer who has a LD that gives him a pyramid debuff that allows you to kind of shut the boss down from attacking for one action. The nice thing about Reno getting his LD boards is we have that as a call. So Reno's, also an enchant imperiler and a party enchanter. So, that's nice, obviously, with his debuff role as well. But, he's definitely a third-party slot. You still need additional support generally in your team, and, some primary damage dealers as well to go with him. He plays fine. I've been using him a little bit. I used him back when he came out, but nothing really to change in terms of how he plays. If you liked him before, you can still use him. He's a little bit more competitive in content because of the damage boosts. But the nice thing is you can bring that pyramid as a call. So there you go. Mino, any thoughts on Reno?
Not really. I'm gonna be honest. Even moving forward, I personally am not going to be paying too much attention to these characters that are coming back.
Yeah.
These returning LC characters, especially as we continue forward, they get less and less new things. I believe Guy gets high armor plus as the only thing when he's back, and then Kadaj gets literally nothing. So it's hard for me to really want to research or even personally ever use these characters. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm probably gonna not have much to say on these returning characters, but there are plenty of other content creators out there that'll cover it more in depth.
Yeah, and for the most part, we've said this, the majority of the returning LDs just get kind of a boost in viability. There is an occasional LD board that really does change the character. So, it is something that we would let you be aware of. Breaking news, J.A has let us know that in the co-op shop for the Equinox Aurora, there are enhancement points. How many total? 1,500 enhancement points? That's not very many.
Yeah.
And EX power tokens as well.
15,000, which
15,
is okay. And also, I believe this was announced on stream, and a total was given for both Equinox events. I was going to wait until we covered the event to talk about that.
No, you're right. You're right. They did. No, you're right. They did. They did tell us that on stream. Thank you. Yeah. My memory is not great. So, well, Rosa got a. Rosa got an LD weapon and a costume, and she has red eyes. Isn't that fun? I have both these characters, just FYI, and I have used them both in current Lufenia content. And I'll use them in this current Perfectum content. So if you're not familiar with Rosa, she is a ranged / magic offensive support character. I mean, early Rosa was basically just an aura bot. She had really good auras. She did attack up, max brave up, brave regen. She did healing. She was just one of those early all around decent support characters that also had the ability to re-raise your characters if they died and they had that re-raise buff on them. They would come back to life. Of course, early on, because your score tanked when you re-raised, it was not usually useful. Your score does not tank as much nearly in re-raise these days, so it's not as big of a deal, but it really does suck. I mean, it's like it's not something you necessarily want to happen. Characters lose their buffs, everything else, but that is part of her thing. Her LD, that's what she gets. She gets her level 80 and LD. Is a big attack. Of course, she batteries on all her skills as well, and that gives her, it does give re-raise to everybody, which is nice, but it also gives her a new buff, which further increases her party support. So she is doing attack up, max brave up, I brave regen, or I brave up, I brave regen up, overflow, brave damage up, HP damage up, HP regen, and yeah, so basically she becomes even more of an aura bot. The good things about Rosa is she does do kind of everything you need a support to do. She has decent auras. She's got the HP damage up, the brave damage up. She's got healing. She does some burst healing. She does HP regen. So she's got both of those covered, which is great for roll coverage. She does get a little bit of brave regen, but it's based on iBrave, not max brave, so that kind of sucks. Moving forward, as iBrave kind of becomes a less and less useful stat. Her damage on the con side of her damage is garbage. As an offensive tank, I mean, she's always been kind of sold as a aggressive damage dealing support tank. What did I call her tank? A damage dealing support unit. And yeah, her damage is abysmal. And her auras are good, but they're not the best in the game. And so she does help. It does help to have additional support characters and additional boost. Yeah, but yeah, you heard it here. Rosa is a tank. She is a tank, right? Because she allows you to tank damage by allowing you to die and be risen from the dead. So in that way, she kind of is a tank. So you're welcome. I mean, if you wanted to blue her armor, I love Rosa, but I'm not going to blue her armor. If you wanted to blue her armor, she would give you much more support if it's a character you really, really want, and if you really, 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 really like re-raise. But as Fiddick says, her off-turn healing is kind of bad too. So I want to like Rosa. I do like Rosa. I pulled for her. She is a favorite character, unfortunately for me. I did buy her costume. But she's a little underwhelming at this point in the game. You probably have a lot of other options that fit in well. We just had a character like Queen that does a lot of the same things. Obviously, Queen doesn't re-raise, but Queen does some healing, and she's a little bit more aggressive, decent auras, etc. So, all in all, Rosa's not bad. She's not great. If you like her, pull. If not, skip. You'll live. Mino, what are your thoughts on Rosa?
Oh man, where to begin? There's just not that much I can really say to her credit. I'll start off by saying that Rosa is not a character for veterans, not a character for us. We're not the target audience here. I really think the problem with her as an aura bot, she used to be the aura bot. Yeah. She had the best auras effortlessly.
Yes.
The problem now is she's actually on the worst side of auras now. With very, very low auras compared to the rest, and a conditional on it. Mark, I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, you're right. Thank you.
You need 10 total buffs over the party, so basically filling half their slots. But Rosa can't do that on her own, so you have to think about team building. It's not that bad, a lot of the DPS have their own self buffs and things. You only really need to fill a half of their slots, but it is something to keep in mind. And of course, if you get dispelled, it's a bit of a build-up. And I didn't pull Rosa's LD. I don't have practical experience, but talking to people who do, The build-up it takes quite a bit, or at least it feels like it from the beginning of the battle. I'm not sure if you had this experience, Mark.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, she doesn't start with her EX buff. Her
Right.
EX takes several skills to charge, and so yeah, it is very cumbersome. So she really has to work up. And yeah, you do have to make sure that you're applying enough buffs on the party to get what at the end of the day is some brave damage up, HP damage up, and overflow, but it's also not in brave gains that are not on the higher end. They're good, but they're not the best. So I
Right.
mean,
The other, see, like, my theory is that they shortchanged her on her auras because they valued re-raise a lot. And the thing about re-raise is the raise penalty hasn't been completely removed. Even
no.
if it's less, it's still pretty bad. As in, people are reporting that one re-raise made them miss the score on
Oh
this event.
no. First, let me correct that. I
Oh, really?
died.
Is that
I
not true?
died 5 times in my initial run with Rosa and
Okay.
and Reno,
I'm glad to hear that,
and
Mark.
made
Thank you,
score
because
no problem. That was
okay.
not a
Well,
problem.
how many turns did you
That one
run?
was, I don't know. I don't have TCC BT. It was I did full synergy to see what that was like. It was awful, by the way. Reno, Rosa, and TCC with no BT. I don't think it was super low. I mean, maybe in the 40s.
Okay, we'll see. But I know that there were reports, and I'm glad you cleared that up. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
This was a
five deaths. I did
this
keep
was a
track.
tight this was a tight turn count at 65.
Yeah.
So I know that there were reported stories of a single re-raise missing score. They probably cut the turn count very, very close. And then another is that somebody tried to re-raise every recast and then got a score of 0. So
Yeah.
the raise penalty is not negligible, and this is a hard one to judge. And I want to talk about this fight when we get to it, about how Synergy. This is one of the few fights that Synergy isn't stomping all over. Oh,
No.
maybe you have TCC BT. I haven't tried it with that, but it does help. I guess if you want to go super aggressive, you just re-raise, take the recast, and just keep going, right? But right, there is a danger of failing score if you rely on the re-raise. Um, anyways, the thing is, her main selling point is a re-raise. That's the only unique thing she brings to the table.
Yeah.
And her auras and healings are sadly subpar compared to we have so much overlap now with like Queen and Porum, who have these brave and HP damage ups that way more effortlessly, and really, really good auras way more effortlessly. And the only good thing I can say about re-raise is I want to consider all viewpoints. Like, veteran players are not banking on re-raise. They're not banking on going down.
Right.
And
Exactly. Yeah.
and if they are, they're like, a lot of people have been running the immortal team of like Queen, um, Arden, and Galuf lately, where they just can't die, or Party Last Stand. Nobody's accounting for re-raise. That being said, I want to say benefit of the doubt that re-raise is probably a good tool for newer players. Like, if your roster's not stacked, re-raise can get you across the finish line if you pair it up with more recent characters. I really want to say this. I don't know if this is actually good
Yeah,
advice.
just I mean, just a correction, or clarification. Drew Zane is reminding us Rosa's Prey now does 80% max HP healing, so she does do burst healing. But she's certainly not the best. I think her
Oh, actually, I
her
believe
EX,
Prey's instant now, isn't it?
it is not instant
Prey is.
cast. It
Oh,
is not instant. No,
one
it
of
is
her
not
skills was
instant.
instant. Am I crazy? I
Uh,
thought one of her skills became instant.
no, there's no instant skill unless it's
Chat,
the.
help us out.
I don't believe there's any skill that is instant. It doesn't add to the turn count. It's high turn rate. Yeah, it's free, but
Okay.
it's not instant.
High turn rate, no, it doesn't add to
Oh
turn
yeah,
count.
it's a free. Yeah, it's a free turn. It doesn't count, but it's not instant turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I did mean instant, so it's not instant. And
It's not
thank you guys.
instant, yes.
I will admit, like I said, I did not get the LD, so I don't have practical experience on
And
this one.
she is not fast. So, like she could if Prey was an instant turn, that would have been pretty cool actually, because you're never running out of skills with Rosa. Like, I mean, if you ran out of skills with Rosa, you're way so much past turn count, it wouldn't have mattered, right? But yeah, she does do healing on her EX as well, and there's healing on skill 1 as well. It's not significant.
Right.
But I mean, there's enough healing for most fights. But there are some healers that do a little bit better.
Right, and also I think you forgot to mention is that the other gimmick she has is she has like she has an aura that gives bravery fund to the party based on HP
she does brave gain, based on not much. It's what, 15% of HP damage.
15%. Yeah, it's semi unique. It's a lesser version of Iroha's ability, but it's there. I'm trying to find good things to say.
I mean, yeah,
here.
she has a lot of the pieces. She's just not, she's just not the best at any one of them. Besides the re-raise, which she is right now the only one who does it, I think, until Ico, right? And so, I mean, she, her healing's fine, her auras are fine. She's doing all these things good. She's not doing any of them the best. She's going to be great for TCC challenges.
Right. So, I mean, the only thing I can really say is probably a good pickup for very, very new players. The re-raise is probably going to come in handy for someone out there. But this is a character that, like Eiko, raises the floor, not the ceiling, as in makes up for bad play, does not help you make bigger plays. It's not like a Tidus character that's pushing new DPS limits, or like Core, right? That's pushing it doesn't help you get better. It helps you from performing worse. And that's really just the best. I think they overvalued re-raise, but again, I don't think I'm the target audience for this character. Maybe re-raise is freaking amazing for certain people.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel good, because we've been programmed by the game to not want to die. Like, it's just not a play style that has ever been like the norm of the play styles, right? It's just never been a selling point to die. And I know Ico's going to come out and you can just die forever. And there are certain situations where, if it was like, you have to do this, great. But, she does that well. No arguments. She can keep that re-raise up pretty consistently. I didn't have any problem keeping it up and dying and being re-raised. That was not a problem. Her healing was keeping up. She's not over-healing or doing things like some other characters are doing, a little bit better, but it was keeping up. But yeah, I mean, it just doesn't feel good. We're just not programmed to like, oh, good, my character died. No, that's
right. And to follow that trend, I'm glad you brought that up. Perfect segue is, something I've always drawn the comparison to is it's for any MOBA players out there. Every MOBA like League of Legends has a revive skill, and that's basically taking up an entire skill slot just to get up early. And while this is probably seen a lot in low-level play, at high-level play, everyone says, this is the worst skill, don't take it, because then you're gambling on losing, right? Like, it's only useful if you die. Re-raise is only useful if you die. If you die, you're already falling behind.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? You're minimizing your losses, but you're not increasing your gains. Yeah. And that's what I mean. Like, it increases the floor, not the ceiling. It's not making your team better. It's just making your failures not as bad, but you shouldn't be planning around your failures in the first place.
I agree. Well, looking at the podcast polls, and if you want to participate, well, first of all, Reno and Rosa, TonberryTroupe.com. You can check out their beautiful infographics, TonberryTroupe.com. Check out the infographics if you want more information and want all those stats and numbers. MateriaBot, which is our friend Quetzalma, did the podcast poll for this banner across 10 servers. You can join our Discord server and vote on this one and the next one. If you haven't jumped in and voted on the next one, that is live. Thank you, J.A and Quetz for making those banners possible, so you can jump on and vote on the one that's currently live and let us know what you're going to do. But one person going to pity, this is for Rosa, Reno, Titus. One person going to pity the BT, 8 people going gems, or 8 people going BT or LD pity for Rosa, I assume. 5 gems, 65 tickets, and 105 skips. So you can imagine a lot of people willing to skip. That does bring us to the Lufenia fight. You fight 2 Castle Guardians. We fought them before. They're super annoying, but they don't have a Lufenia orb. Hooray! Unfortunately... Unfortunately, they have a lot of other crappy mechanics. The biggest one is at 3 different HP thresholds, 79%, 49%, and 29%. I'll say that again. 79%, 49%, and 29% of their HP goes down. They will be surrounded by a mist wreath. While the mist wreath is active, their brave damage is reduced significantly. Their HP damage is reduced very highly, about 70%. And then they have an HP poison. Thank you, Guns, for the subscription. Thank you, Broadway saying.
Holy shit.
Those were from Broadway. Thank you, Broadway, for 5 gifted subs. Thank you, the Dissidia Duck, for 5 gifted subs as well. Everybody check out the Broadway Saiyan on Twitch. He is still streaming DFFOO and other games. And so thank you all. If 40 gifted you a sub, make sure to thank him and check him out and go to his channel and like and follow him as well on 40 the Broadway Saiyan. It is the Broadway Saiyan on Twitch. Thank you, 40. Hope you are doing well. And thank you, the Dissidia Duck, as well. We appreciate your patronage and all of our animals who watch the show. And the mist also has a HP poison. Their turns become framed, so they cannot be knocked back, they cannot be delayed, or deleted. They can be broken. They can be knocked back as well, I believe. So after this, they do a powerful attack, of course, that can kill you. They do have a recast ability, which can also kill you, so you could die. If you let them act after they get the mist, they will dispel the mist and they will lose all those buffs. So that's kind of what they want you to do. They want you to either find a way to tank the attack, they want you to re-raise after the attack, or they want you to, do some kind of silence, HP silence, terror, paralysis, pyramid, so that you don't take the damage. And then you can go on to the next thing. Other than that, they have some attacks that can really do terrible things. Like they have one attack that can is a single target attack, but can delay a character 6 turns. They can also inflict several different debuffs, including defense down. Their defense itself is ridiculously high. They are weak to Thunder Element, obviously, with Reno, but, you really do actually want some debuffs, especially if you're going to try to gun through the mist, which is not easy. It is possible to gun through the mist and just try to do damage through the mist, but it's really... I don't know that it's worth it. I think there are several different ways that you can approach taking the mist. Perhaps the easiest way is not Reno, but it is Warrior of Light. Warrior of Light shields can tank most of the attacks after the mist. And so a fully boarded LD'd Warrior of Light can actually protect your party fairly effectively. Generally pairing him with another healer, Warrior of Light and Paladin Cecil together with a DPS, I think is probably the easiest way to handle this fight. Of course, you can re-raise. I did that. I didn't have a good time doing it, but I did do that, and it's a viable option. There are other options, debuff options. You can use characters to kind of bring down their attack considerably. Kadaj is one of those characters. You can start stacking some attack downs and survive that. Obviously, Reno with his Pyramid debuff and Eldnarch with his Terror debuff are good options as well. Arciela, I think, and now Shantotto it would be a good option that she gets her boards as well. I think some other tanks are good on this. Gladio, Galuf, I've seen some other runs, and there are some pretty creative runs out there. So, Mino, what did you want to share about this?
So let's see. What order do I want to do this in? Okay, so first from. Okay, got it. So first from if you're trying to tackle the TCC challenge and you're trying to approach this from the challenge perspective, this is a very mechanically heavy fight.
Yes.
And I know a lot of like good players because this was a fight from the notorious like Hell Month
yes,
or one of them,
this was
right?
a Hell Month.
And yeah, where there were a lot of mechanics you have to juggle, right? And so if you're doing a challenge run or a TCC challenge run, what you typically want to do is you don't want the recast or the mist to line up because if they line up together, it's huge. And then the other thing is you want to keep their turns separate so you don't take two huge AoEs back to back, right? So
correct.
What you have to do is you're juggling keeping their turns apart and you're juggling pushing thresholds between recasts. And while I only think that's like two mechanics, the thing is that that's a lot that people are used to while you're checking your DPS as well.
Right.
And it feels like people who are doing this TCC challenge run, they're kind of realizing, holy shit, these fights used to have a lot more mechanics. They did. They really had a lot more mechanics back then. And things have really eased up in recent fights in comparison. So if you're trying to do this without Tidus, it's a whole different ballgame. Yeah,
well,
yeah.
even with Tidus, now I don't have his burst weapon, but even with Tidus, I mean, I used all 4 of Reno's pyramids and still took 5 deaths. So all single target, but
okay, wow.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, and of course, I mean the damage that Reno and Rosa are doing is abysmal. So
yeah. So yeah, and then there's these little things where like the recast, if it's up with the mist, it will dispel your party. There's a lot of little things happening here. So
they also cleanse after they do an attack, and that's super annoying. I mean,
which is why you want to separate the recast from the mist. Is the whole other thing. So the challenge run, people doing the challenge run, there are a lot more mechanics. This is a good way to sharpen your skills, right? For like Lufenia Plus and other things coming up. Like this is a legitimately difficult fight back when fights used to be very, very challenging, which is why even without an orb, this is still a hell of a fight without synergy. It's hell. And so was it yesterday? Yesterday on the ranting hour, we talked about this, and shout out to Lemu, I forget the rest of his, but Lemu, and who's on our TCC Discord as Rogue now, there was a discussion in the comments, and we were talking about a subject that we're going to talk about a little later, which is basically difficulty of content tuned around synergy, where people are talking about how right now, and I said this when when Eldnarch came out, once we exited that secret hell month, DFFOO is getting much better at synergy stomping, synergy bias. So now more than ever, the difference between synergy and non-synergy runs are bigger than ever, like way more noticeable. It's much, much, much easier with synergy, unless, you're Mark and you ran Rosa and Reno, and that was pretty hellish. But otherwise,
I did beat it. I mean, I got score.
But I agree with you, and I quote you all the time, and I'm sure you know, Mark, because you listen to the ranting hour. I quoted you yesterday again, which is that if you have full synergy, you should not struggle. If you have full synergy, like to reward whales, you should be able to just stomp through content. And I agree with you 100% there. So, DFFOO is trending towards that. And so I was talking to Lemu in the comments, and he brought up that this is probably a good example of a fight where synergy does not completely destroy the content, barring Tidus.
Yeah.
If you have Tidus BT, he's still gonna crush it.
Oh
You know
yeah.
why all the events in his cycle have such high defense? Because he comes with a
Defense
50%
spend. Yep.
defense down.
Yep.
Yep. And tight turn rates. So he brings the debuffs, he checks all the orbs, he does a shit ton of damage, right? Like it's more biased towards the 2 week synergy than ever.
Yeah.
And so barring Tidus, Lemu brought up that this is a perfect example of a fight of tuning a fight to be much easier with synergy because realistically, if you do go the re-race strat, that's a lot less effort, and if you do use pyramids with good DPS, it's a lot less effort. But it doesn't completely guarantee an easy win unless you also have Tidus.
Yeah.
And so I kind of agree. This is a good fight where the mechanics are very difficult and the synergy check the mechanics, but they don't make it an instant win. And this is what people were bringing up of what would be an ideal difficulty. And we'll touch more on that later. So for this fight, I do think without Tidus, it's a well-tuned fight. And specifically, and I do understand that I know some people were frustrated as well because it's one of those fights where if you make a single mistake, you'll wipe. And so a lot of people trying the TCC challenges are
Oh sure.
it's like 15 20 minutes, you fuck up, bam, there goes 15 20 minutes. I understand that complaint,
Yep.
but I do think that this fight was nice and it shows that you can push difficulty without an orb as well.
Yeah,
To, yeah.
CSDX says you have to watch the HP sap at the end if you're trying to push through the final mist, because yeah, you can end the fight without meeting without meeting the HP damage requirement. So that you're I think you're probably more likely to end with too much HP damage than you are with low score. So yeah, definitely. Anything else for Reno's Lost Chapter?
No, that's
All
all
right.
I have.
Well, let's transition now, and something we like to do is have a community spotlight to showcase one of our good friends. We already lifted up 40 the Broadway Saiyan, who gave us some gifted subs. So again, check out 40 the Broadway Saiyan. He is making content on Twitch and streaming on Twitch frequently. And so we just love his positive attitude and his goofiness. He's always posting weird things on Twitter and in our Discord. And so, 40, we appreciate you. And go check out 40. But
Mark,
you wanted to
really,
highlight somebody, yes?
yes, but really quick, a correction here for Retractor saying when they have the recast and the mist up at the same time, they do not cleanse. It's only if they're staggered that they cleanse. So I'll throw that correction out. I misspoke earlier. I gave out the wrong info. So just so you know, you're encouraged to line them up. That's probably why Pyramid and Re-Raise are so good. You want to line them up, take the hit, and then move on. I guess staggering it does make it harder, but that's the only way to really live without really big mitigation.
Correct.
Okay, so Mark, thank you. You were throwing it back. Mark, you didn't have anyone. I'll take it over this week. So I will always admit when I'm wrong. Not that this is relevant to the shout out or anything, but when there's a good should you pull, and when content creators take steps to improve their content, I will take the L and I will admit it. And there was word going around, so I checked it out that Simply Lost Setzer Should You Pull, his latest Should You Pull, took a lot of steps to be different and really change his format to really evolve his format. And I took a look. It is exactly what I personally wanted. I'm not sure if this is for everybody, but what he did was he stopped reading rote numbers, and it was a much shorter video at 15 minutes. 15 minutes still kind of long, but it's better than the 40 plus minute should you pulls. But he focused on exactly what we try to focus here on TCC podcast, which is if there are any reworks or updates to the old kit, we'll just list the differences. For example, Mark says, "Hey, Reno's LD boards, it lets him do more damage." True, exactly. That's as short as it needs to be. And then he would focus on what the LD brings and then the majority of the analysis was his personal thoughts and opinions. And I always want to highlight any new efforts to make changes and anything to improve the content, anything at all. It really shows you care about the content. So I urge you guys, check out Simply Lost's newest Setzer Should You Pull. That I believe is a step in the right direction as kits get more bloated, which is another thing we might talk about this week. That's all I got, Mark.
All right. Well, check out Simply Lost. Check out 40. Simply Lost is on YouTube and Twitch, I believe, and he's been on the show with us as well. So check out Simply Lost. And both 40 and Simply Lost are in our Discord as well. If you want to chat with them sometime, you might be able to catch them. That was not an invitation to at anyone, just an invitation to know that they might be around if you wanted to check them and join our Discord. Hey, well, we got plenty to talk about, and so let's move to our next event, which is the Equinox Aurora. It is a Perfectum event. We have not been through the fights. What we do know, there is an easy mode, which involves some co-ops. So there is a co-op, there's a co-op shop. It also has a Perfectum, or 3 Lufenias that you have to bring 3 different teams to collect all the rewards. Thankfully, our friend Macnell and Scott Ong on DissidiaInfo.com. I'm sure we'll have boss guides for all 3 of these things, and you will have call to arms for all 3 of these. And so we will have some time to talk about that during the week and also next week potentially. But what we do need to talk about is this banner that we got, which is unexpected. I wasn't expecting this. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting this. Shantotto, who just got a rework. Terra, who gets blue armor, I guess. Terra didn't have blue armor.
Yeah, all 3 of these get blue armor.
Yeah, all 3 of them get blue armor. So Terra just gets blue armor. Noctis gets level 80 LD boards. Shantotto gets level 80 LD boards and a rework. So let's plow into him. Let's do Noctis first. Noctis gets level 80. So you can actually equip his LD ability as a call, which is kind of fun. More importantly, you can equip him with calls, which may help your 0 turn count runs. And his LD ability gets a little buff. So big fat damage buff. But that's pretty much it. It doesn't, I mean, it really doesn't gain a whole heck of a lot in terms of what he gets on his LD bar. It's again, it's your kind of standard more damage to make this. Yes, yeah, thank you, Inkwelder. The LD call for Noct does not give the buff for the free turns. We'll have a couple LD characters like that. So you cannot, unfortunately, use the LD call on a different character to give those free turns. That would be really cool, but you can't do that. But you can bring calls on him, and you can bring him as a call if you really want to, I guess. I don't think his call ability does anything. Shout out to Tonberry Troupe. You can check out the updated Noctis and Shantotto abilities there, infographics there as well. Anything to say on Noctis? I mean, some of you have been using Noctis pretty much forever. Hopefully you'll be able to use him a little bit better, but at the end of the day, yeah. If you love him, you can blue his armor, and he'll be okay for a
while. Once again, I'll repeat that I'm not too emotionally or intellectually invested in these returning characters. I'm so sorry. I'm pretty sure this will be a trend when we move forward to BT Plus, and it's always a new BT Plus followed with an old one, and I'm probably just not going to give a shit about the old one. Nope. I got nothing.
Well, that brings us to Shantotto, the professor, and she did get a rework, and her rework does, let's see, more damage on skill 1, right? More damage
I got you. Of course I know the rework. I got you on this. Yeah. Mithrin saying, is Mino going to blue armor Shantotto? Of course.
Obviously.
And then I'm not going to use her in this event because she's synergy. Right. The S2 bio becomes 80% splash.
Yep.
Very cool. And S1 gets brave gains in between. It
wasn't a double dump before, was it? Isn't that new?
I think no, the double dump is old,
Oh,
but she repeats the skill
oh,
on
okay.
any target with Accursed Gaze, her unique
Yes,
debuff.
got it. Yeah,
So
that
the
it
new thing,
triggers
yeah,
twice. Yeah, okay, I got
yes,
you.
yes, yes. So she batteries before the skill based on Max Brave, and then between the second hit, batteries again based on HP damage,
Hmm.
and then it repeats all over again if the target has Accursed Gaze. So small rework, but it's nice. I'm sure it's not
Yeah,
going to change anyone's
I
mind.
mean, with her LD, I mean, she, in her era, she was not doing bad damage at all. I actually think she's doing decent damage, but we also have some pretty ridiculous damage dealers right now. Again, I don't. So she got the most, just like with the other, the Sephiroth, Paladin, Cecil, who else was on that one? Warrior of Light.
Wall, yeah.
A Wall got the most. Sephiroth got a nice boost as well. Paladin Cecil didn't get very much. For this one, Terra really didn't get anything. She's still pretty good. Noctis got a nice boost. Shantotto got the most, but at the end of the day, do you really, man, I'm not sold on, I know Black Cloud, Black Nero on YouTube, he is sold on pulling on these banners and pitying a BT on these banners if you're
We should
missing one or
reiterate
two.
that. Yeah, I think we should reiterate
I,
that.
I'm not sold
podcast.
on that, but I also have all the BTs, so I don't
To
I don't know.
To give context to what Mark was saying, BC gave certain advice that I think I agree with. I don't know if I'm going to put it into practice. I've been thinking about it. I'm sitting on the fence. But BC said that if you have 125k gems to spare, if you have like that's a first world problem, right? Like, do we really know that many people? But if you have the resources to spare and you're missing a BT or two on these triple BT banners, they're probably the biggest bang for your buck because it's triple BT rates. You're never going to get anything like that again. Even when BT Plus has come back, it's a single BT
Yeah.
on a banner. So like triple BT rates are very, very, very rare. So for example, like Kefka, Arden, Vaughn, which we might see in the near future,
Yeah.
if you're interested in any of them and the BT Plus, that's the best time to get it because worst case scenario, you get dupes on well, no, worst case scenario is you get your BT
Yeah.
and that's what you wanted. But
Right.
along the way, you could get dupes if you have any for extra 5 BT tokens, or just an extra BT on the way that'll always get better with BT plus. And plus, as we know, DFFOO is a game that builds on the kit. So even if you're not impressed with the BT pluses of these characters, the next tuning pass they might be amazing. And if you're and then you might want their BT.
Yeah.
So if you're purely hunting BTs for like collection purposes and roster building purposes, BC says even if you're missing one, these are worth going 125k gems in just to see what you get.
Yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
Oh, I was just gonna
finish
say,
what you're saying.
people in chat have echoed that, especially for newer players who don't have Mark's wealth of BTs, this is as good as it gets. But what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I'm not sold on it actually. I mean,
Okay.
yes, if you have 1,000,000 gems and you haven't pulled on anything, or you have 2,000,000 gems and you've skipped on everything, these are great investments. But the problem is, these are not the best of the best characters. Now, every once in a while, there's an outlier. Warrior of Light's still really, really powerful when he came back. Vaughn's going to be really, really powerful. Shantotto's not terrible, but Vaughn's going to come out, and, I mean, Vaughn's doing crazy damage, right? So you have some outliers, but generally speaking, these are returning characters, slightly retuned, slightly see, let me flesh this out, CSDX. Yes, I'm not, I did pull on it, and I got a BT. So, I wouldn't pull on it because I have all three of them. But the vast majority, I mean, I just saw a post the other day on Facebook, right? 50,000 gems. This person's got 50,000 gems. Oh, I'm missing this. I don't have Rosa, Reno, and Titus. Should I pull on this banner? That's the average player. I mean, let's just be honest. That is the average player. The average player has nothing. The average player does not have 125,000 gems. And even if they had 125,000 gems, is this a better investment than the next BT cycle or the BT cycle after that or the BT cycle after that? Yes, hey, if Terra's a favorite and you missed her before, pick her up. If Shantotto's a favorite and you missed her before, pick her up. Noctis the same way. If you have tons of resources and you don't have any of these, yeah, great. Pick them up. They're good investments for the future. But at the end of the day, you know, if you are the average player who is, as Soraya the Ranger says, living in poverty, yeah, I don't think these are good investments because the newer characters are always going to be more powerful, and you'll find, you know, slots in your team. But yeah, I mean, you can Xroth, you see, you know, is saying, you know, if you pull now, you'll have them for the plus variation. But again, how often are you going to BT plus an older BT as opposed to a newer BT? I think the vast majority of you are always going to err towards the new BT, not the old BT, except for favorites. Like, I'll BT plus Squall, but, you know, yes, some of you are going to BT plus favorite because she's thing. But yeah, Furry Tractor is saying Bart's BT. Okay, again, that list, you know, with the 8 BTs that are coming out, including Y'shtola and Bart's, which one are you going to pick? Which 2 are you going to pick? And then 3 months down the line, when you have like 3 awesome characters that everybody loves, like back to back to back, and you don't have any resources, what are you going to do? Yeah. So I mean, obviously, you know, the favorite conversation goes without saying, although we have to say it all the time. Pull for favorites, invest in favorites, period. I'm not convinced, and I can be wrong, but I'm not convinced that for the average player, these banners are worth pulling on in general, as a general rule.
And that's again, good.
For the average millionaire who doesn't have 2 or 3 of these, yes.
Right. I agree with you, Mark. And it's good you have an opposing point of view. That's why we have the podcast with different people, and so we can debate this. But Mark, if you didn't have 2 of these BTs, and you're sitting at 1.1 million gems, would you go for it? Would you go for it?
Yeah, no, I mean, right. I mean, well, if some foreseen future time happened where one of these triple BT banners, I didn't have 2 of the 3, of course.
Okay, and
but
also,
I've got over 1 million gems.
Would you recommend to newer players, maybe who started within the last 6 months, and are short on BTs?
No, not 6 months.
To pick up extra BTs, because BTs help with a lot of content, transcendence, just everything in general, right? Like, and these are like updated characters. They're not like top of the top, but they're very viable right now.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I mean, none of them are bad. But again, if you're a newer player, you have limited resources to invest. I'm not talking about gems. I'm talking about character points, enhancement points, power stones. I mean, you know, Inkwelder's in chat, and he's saying, you know, newer players should focus on roster balance. That's why I like the last Triple BT banner, because you had a solid attacker with some debuffs, you had a solid defensive character, you had a solid support. Yeah, I mean, you had a nice team built in there. You know, so yeah, I mean, Shantotto's doing heavy magic damage, some imperil. She does the multi-element imperil. Noctis is doing launch and some turn shenanigans. Terra's doing, you know, so I mean, if those are characters you're missing and you could really use 2 of those, again, if you're trying to complete transcendence and everything else, and you've amassed a large grouping of resources as a newer player, I don't know, 6 months. But yeah, I mean, that's how you should approach every banner is, does this... Yes, this banner, 100% Inkwelder, that's a great point. This banner is better, regardless of whether it has Terra on it. This is better than the current Start Dash campaign. So if you were starting today, you might want to pull on the Start Dash campaign, which is Cloud, Sephiroth, and, or not Cloud, it's Cloud, Squall, and Lightning. Again, if one of those are your favorite, they're still all functional. But this one is an overall better banner. Again, I think the Warrior of Light, Paladin, Cecil, Sephiroth one was probably the best of the groups. overall,
and
all three of those
yeah,
characters solid.
there's some conversation going on in our mod chat where Inkwelder saying, why to BC do you advocate pitying BTs on these? Don't we have enough BTs to plus at 0-3? With BT pluses coming up, do we really want extra BTs to plus where, as Mark said, we're going to trend towards the new? And BC, if you're still here, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I saw you say earlier in chat you're kind of second guessing your own advice. Is that Yes, BC is saying he's doubting the advice that he's
Yeah.
preaching right now.
Well, and
So,
I'm not saying it's a bad banner to pull on. I'm just saying, as a rule, I don't think you should pull on all the triple BT banners. I don't want to make a blanket rule. I mean, I really think you need to look at your roster, your list, your faves, what you're missing, and that's true on every banner, obviously. But yeah. But you can really, I mean, yeah, you can really luck out on these if you're missing a lot of BTs, super unlucky, even as a veteran, and you're just maybe you've been too lucky in terms of you get all the LDs but you never get BTs. There's got to be some people out there, and so hey, not a bad idea to try to pick up a couple extra ones. I have all of these, so.
and that is our triple BT banner debate.
Yeah.
Do you move on to the event, or did we cover all the characters? Good enough, right?
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't think they didn't get anything particularly new or exciting. They're just a little bit more viable than they were.
Yeah, stats up to compete.
Yeah. And again, I'm not sure that investing blue armor in, again, unless they're your freaking favorites. How many times do we have to say that?
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, well, Shantotto, obviously you should blue her armor. She's gonna be doing great damage. I mean, a blue Shantotto is gonna be doing. I'm waiting to see. That's gonna be some good runs right there, right? Because yeah, she's gonna be doing some decent damage. Pair her with some other folks. So looking forward to that. Again, we don't know much about the content right now, so there are resources we have. You can join our Discord, DissidiaInfo.com. Check that out. I do want to go to the podcast polls. Again, this is brand new because it's just an hour old. But
okay.
do think
and Mark, I do have some things to say about the content afterwards. If you want to jump in as well.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So, but as of right now, one person pitting a BT on this one, 2 people ticketing, and 30 skipping across just 2 banners. Obviously, this is brand new, so just us and another banner. Us and another server have it put on because our awesome mod J.A is on top of that, and thank you again for Quet. So yeah, what did you want to say about the event, Mino?
So just gathering information while the show is going on, it seems like anyone in chat, please correct me if I'm wrong if any of this information is out. So these are returning bosses that GL players are familiar with, but they have new mechanics.
Oh, okay.
Because of course it's Lufenia and it's higher difficulty. They have new mechanics going on. My question out there, and we'll probably correct this next week, but are these pulled from future JP fights, or did they actually put in new mechanics for GL? Sure, they could probably like throw it into JP later as well, but I wonder if this is the first time we're seeing these bosses do certain mechanics. For example, Myth is saying Aphmau's boss now inflicts HP poison and dispels the. Okay, so BC is confirming these are new mechanics for these bosses for GL, not seen in their JP iterations yet. First of all, very exciting. One of the things we want to talk about later, but we'll address now, is that diversity in content, right? People are saying sometimes this game is getting too samey. I wish they had more modes. This is very, very good step. If they're using GL as a beta test, this is great. Right? Perfectum Lufenias, throw out these events, throw 3 Lufenia fights at once. You get to skip directly to the Lufenia fight, which people have been asking for on both versions all the time. Like, they're like, do I really have to grind trash through the LC or the event to reach the main event? They let you jump in right now. 3 brand new Lufenia fights at the same time. For GL and JP, brand new mechanics on these fights. Brand new orbs, no foresight. Very excited to tackle these tonight. And also just like the Perfectum lockout. So making sure that you have 3 different teams for 3 different fights. I think this is a great step in the right direction to diversifying content and really challenging because as was said in a video that we might address later tonight.
VL, check out VL on YouTube. One of our favorite JP content creators is saying, "I'm downloading GL right now."
Yeah, right. Like this is exciting content. This is exciting content. It does Square Enix. If you're listening, this is all it takes to make us happy, which is more endgame and more punishing endgame. And we're probably going to talk about this later because, as addressed in a video that we might talk about later tonight, asking for more diversity in fights. It was from the average player perspective. Not everybody wants to run a TCC challenge, and I understand that, right? Like Mark does not like TCC challenges. Inkwelder does not like TCC challenges. Not everybody wants to do optional challenges. While I disagree, the average player says they want the game to force them to come up with creative approaches. I don't think it needs to, but that is a sentiment that exists out there, that the game should force you to approach content differently.
Well, I don't know that I mean, I think this will be interesting because people are already saying in chat they're having issues with this fight, and why are they having issues with this fight? Because we don't know what the clears are, right? So much of our content is quote unquote easy because there's clear synergy. There's not clear synergy. You can't use Shantotto, Terra, and Noctis in all 3 of these.
Mark,
you know,
just to say, you bring up a perfect point, and I fucking love it. You know what it is? This event has 4 synergy characters, but you need 9.
Yeah.
So you can't run full synergy through the whole thing.
Well, there's 5. Reno is synergy too, right? Reno and Rosa.
Right. Terra, Rosa is synergy as well? Oh, 5. Okay,
yeah, I think
thank you guys.
Synergy.
Right. But you can't run full synergy through the entire event. They're forcing you to run non-synergy party members. Holy crap, that's awesome. So genius.
It's awesome.
But continue, Mark. Go ahead.
And so we don't have the videos, the YouTube, it's not all set like, oh, I'm just going to use this, and this. Or, I mean, there are people, especially folks on our server that have these fights researched months ahead of time. And so they have the fights researched and then they do them and they're like, well, that was easy. Well, of course it's easy. You know what to do. If you don't know what to do, I mean, even with a little bit of just like, oh, yeah, these guys got some, just reading through. Like, I try not to look at runs anymore and kind of plan ahead. I try to just have the fight as fresh as possible. And I do. I don't necessarily do TCC challenges. I've never said I don't like the TCC challenge. I used to do them actually quite frequently. I used to do TCC challenges all the time. But at this point, I just don't have the time to spend doing the fight 3-4 times, or 12 or 16 like Zeno and Scott are doing. But I do usually do the fights a couple times. I did this Rosa fight a few times, so just to play around with some different options before the show. But yeah, there's no precedent for this, so that's exciting, and I agree. I think this kind of content, new content, something that's a little different, off the beaten path. Yeah, I'm all up for it. I do appreciate Squex for this, and I think this does look potentially a little bit better than some of the recent Abysses. I have always liked Abyss. I've never had a problem with any of the Abysses, but this might be a little bit more digestible and a little less focused on having to pull for a character. So
it's a little more endgame. If we analyze the event itself, first, it's limited time as opposed to permanent Abyss, which is a smart business move. More pull FOMO, right? Like, more pressure to pull. I respect that. The other thing is, I feel like DFFOO, and I've said this before, like, err on the in favor of the players, right? Like, it's better to make the players too strong than to make the content too strong. And it's probably making them good money because JP is like straight up garbage time for months now. So I don't know the numbers. I don't know how it's performing. But basically, at this point in GL, and it's not even as easy as JP now, people are starting to clamor for harder content. And they want to be restricted, and they say endgame should be bananas bonkers and really push them to pull. I don't know how much I agree with this, but the point is this type of content does cater to a certain percentage of the player base.
Yeah.
So I really think if this is their grand experiment, which is great, we have a second part of this coming up next week as well. Like amazing, so much content, right? Like if this works out and it's big, because in JP, a lot of these these off banners, because if you remember, Mark, like Sarah and Galuf, right? They were just banners dropped in the middle of events with no accompanying events.
Yeah.
So now it seems like they're trying to fix this in GL by throwing in a couple of fights to incentivize the pulls, which I think is brilliant. And if this works out, and I hope it does, this really does hit a different portion of the player base. Like, it is okay to have very hardcore endgame content. I haven't tried it out yet. I'm hoping it's suitably difficult. But either way, 3 Lufenias with lockouts is already hard, like in concept, on paper, harder than a lot of things we've seen so far. So I really hope this is a sign of them trying new content, and this is exactly what people have been asking for. So I do really, really hope this is a success and they keep trying this. This is better than 6-man content, right? Like,
oh yeah,
it's better. So Josh, if you're listening, at least from the hardcore player perspective or the veteran perspective, people are asking for more forced lockouts.
Yeah.
So this is probably a step in the right direction. We will see with time. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Yeah. We haven't done the fights yet, so we may regret saying this, but I think at this point, this is kind of the thing we want. So good job on you, Squex. As we move to host discussion, one thing that we may not have wanted was this banner. So just to there's been some before the banner even launched, before obviously before we knew that Shantotto and Noctis were going to be able to be bumped up at level 80 around an hour before the event dropped. And then right after that, people have been coping because everybody and their mom was expecting Setzer. There's been several Setzer should you pull videos. That sucks because Setzer ain't nowhere to be seen. So one thing people keep going back to, and people are coping real hard with this. Everybody's using their internal self-defense mechanisms, and it's okay. We have to move through grief in appropriate ways. But the Squex slides were very clear, and I think Squex Joshua affirmed this, that the slide for the 20th, which is today, said the first free multi-draw would be on this event. There would be a first free multi-draw. And then the slide for the 30th, which is in 10 days from now, for the second part of this event, there would be first free multi-draws. And so now people are thinking on the 30th, we're going to get 2 brand new banners with things. And we might.
I think we will. Josh did.
Well, I'm more thinking that because the event goes through the 13th, we might just get multiple free pulls over the course of a couple events. That may just be unicycle, maybe free multis. That it just may be that's the reality. We may get the Triple BT banner, the other Triple BT banner, which we were expecting, which would be Von, Kefka, and Arden. We may get that on the 30th with a free pull, and then we may start getting free pulls on Una. That's what I would anticipate, and then maybe we'll see Setzer on Unicycle or X-Death Cycle. I think it would be hilarious if Setzer is pushed back to X-Death Cycle, because nobody's going to be pulling on X-Death Cycle except me, because I want X-Death BT, and which isn't different than any other BT, but
contractually obligated to pull Lion LD, Mark. So I'll be right there with you.
Yeah. So but a lot of people are going to be skipping Lion Cell X-Death. You might already have X-Death, but for X-Death BT. Yeah. So I love his BT ability. It's kind of hilarious. But yeah, so I'm still gonna go out on a limb. I'm probably gonna be 100% wrong, but that's okay. I'm gonna go out on a limb and expect the best marketing move would be to move the new. So stop. The new chocoboard panel gives potions per line finish instead of gems and pages. I do need some stamina potions. So thank you.
I need them too. I need to finish my
Yeah.
World of Illusions artifact grind, guys.
Yes,
I only
exactly.
have 20 characters, 19 characters to go.
19 characters left. So very good. Very good. So I we don't need Setzer right now. Let's just be real clear. I mean Reddit's probably on fire. Main core's probably been on slow mode for the last hour and a half. I don't know. Shout out to all the mods on main core and Reddit that have to deal, including our friend Sharon Quetzalma, that have to deal with that crap. Take a breath. Setzer's not here. Setzer's going to be delayed. That's okay. Compared to what we didn't expect, him to be here anyway. We don't need Setzer right now. Setzer is a early Lufenia plus kind of help, right? And you don't need him, but he does bring the rainbows, and that's nice. But you don't need him right now. You'll be fine. We'll all be fine. Yes, the next tier of Dimensions End might be a little tough. Setzer in the boss rush may be a little tough, but yeah, I think we'll be able to figure it out. We could have him. I mean, he could come on the 30th. I'm not going to put my money there, very truthfully, because it does not look like Setzer's going to be on TCC BT cycle. I mean, Joshua said that already, and so we're not going to get a brand new BT unless we get a double BT. We already have a double BT with Yuna. Yuna's first banner would be, it's Act 3, Chapter 4, Part 1. And that's Yuna, Trey, Gao, and Desh. And so we're not going to get that on the 30th. Those aren't the banners we're going to get on the 30th. And you never get a BT before you get the BT LD. So I very much expect we will get Von, Kefka, and Arden on the 30th. And then we'll just get Setzer later. I'm sure we'll get Setzer next month, although if he is delayed, thank you, Inkwelder. The real loss here is Waka's blue armor is delayed, and I think that is sad for all of us. But we're gonna get Setzer, and when he comes, he's gonna do what we need to do, and I think we'll find ways to get past content until then. And even if we don't get Setzer and they delay him forever, we'll live. There might be some more rioting if we don't, but we'll be okay. So I'm not upset about this. I don't know why you would be upset about this. That's you never work yourself up when there's something that you've not been told is going to happen, and then you won't be disappointed. General good life advice. Don't ever expect anything, and then you'll be happy all the time. So Mino, anything about any stupid speculation or any feelings about?
Yeah, let's tackle this, Mark. Iterating on what you said, from a business perspective, all you sheep who wanted to meta pull Setzer, you were gonna do it anyways. Whether or not TCC BT is on there, whether or not Yuna BT is on there, hell, Mark was talking about best business practices. I 100% believe that they could release a Setzer banner with just Setzer on it and still make a ton of money.
Yep.
I 100% believe that. That it would not discourage a lot of meta sheep to
everybody's going to pull. Yep.
If it was the because it's just such a hyped
you are
banner.
all going to pull Setzer. Yep, we know.
Everyone, every content creator has been saying easy mode 7 months, like broken ass character makes everything super easy. Everyone's gonna they could remove everything, just the LD, and people would probably pull. So that's one thing. The second thing is, from a business perspective, switching the banners is kind of smart. If they're throwing these events at us, these Perfectum Lufenias now and in a week, etc. If Setzer came out today, I think the 6 BT upgrades would be much less appealing. If you grab So they swapped the banners, as Mark said. We're
Yeah.
supposed to get this one in 10 days or so. If you had Setzer today, would you really want to pull on Toto, Noctis, Terra? Right?
Right.
Like, if you could use Setzer on both sets of Perfectum quests, or also the boss rush as well, right? Like, would you really want to pull Leon if you, you have Setzer? Delaying such an OP character or such a desired character does raise the value of these banners, because like, oh shit, I can't just Setzer through content from now to Lufenia Plus. I might have to actually look at these banners. If you struggle, if you hit a wall, you might actually have to look at these banners. Um, as Mark also said, no content really requires Setzer for now either. And finally, this is what you wanted. Josepher, this is what you wanted. Using meta is too easy, Josepher says. Well, guess what? You don't get Setzer for these events.
You don't get it.
Yeah, here you go. You boss rush without Setzer now. Like, this is what you veterans wanted.
Everybody, it's Josepher's. This is Josepher's fault. Everybody message Joe. Sorry, it's your fault.
People kept bringing up in Ranting Hour, why are all the content creators complaining that content is so easy now? Here you go. You don't get your meta fucking plans anymore. All right.
Not easy anymore.
Suddenly the game is much more interesting because it just got harder. Suddenly you can't use the broken character to stomp through everything. Imagine running TCC BT cycle without TCC BT. Like, clearly you wanted a bigger challenge. Here it is. I don't want to hear any complaining. I wish the devs would make content harder. Here you go. Here you.
Yeah, I think the rumor mill is that that our largest content creator, Josepher, shout out to Joe, and it obviously is our largest, if you're not aware, our largest DFFOO content creator, most views, most followers, most subscribers, everything else, does it full time. So props to Joe for that as well, and been following him for over 3 years. And but yeah, he did do this video, and that is one of the things he said. So Squex obviously listens to the largest content creator and decided that we don't need Setzer, and that would help us, and that would make us better and feel better. So everybody can thank Joe for that. Thank you, Josepher. But yeah, no, we are just joking. Please don't harass Joe about that. But yeah, it's true. I mean, in terms of makes RFK. I'm Josepher. Yeah, I know that's not true, but oh goodness gracious.
But basically, honestly, for the veterans who've been asking for a challenge, and I've seen on Reddit, it's not just Joe. It's a good handful of people like Freya Guy who are saying, "Why is content so easy now?" Well, here's a little wrench in your fucking plans. That's one. Yeah. The second thing I wanted to say is, I think Mark touched on this already, is that Setzer not coming with TCC BT is such a first world problem.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to find sympathy for that, because either you're an insane hoarder meta sheep that's going to have enough resources to pull both anyways.
Yeah.
Or like, it's just,
well, and just pity. I mean, this is the best. This is the best solution, right? This is the best solution. Just pity the BT on TCC banner. You don't have to pull for Rosa. You don't have to pull for Leon, right? You just have to, pull on one banner. So, I mean, that should make everybody feel happy.
Yeah, right? And the other thing is fucking... shit, I lost my train of thought. Hold on, I got this, Mark. Yeah. We were talking about...
We were talking about
change in plans, right? So, GL and JP, I feel like there's a little bit of fault for expecting GL to follow JP exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
And that, like, if you plan meticulously around it and it doesn't happen, and that somehow destroys your plans. And once again, I do not believe it. I believe anyone who really religiously follows planners and saw TCC and Setzer coming up, they will have enough resources for both. Well, this is not going to destroy anyone's game.
Exactly right. But you know, GL has always deviated. I mean, we've had time travelers. We had GL first. We've had reworks pushed back. We've had characters pushed. I mean, this is not anything new. This is one of the ways that kind of keeps the game fresh and different. And you know, but yeah, I mean, there when you get so much hype that this character, especially when you didn't get the character announced at all. Like they have the announcements, and yeah, sometimes characters come out that aren't announced, right? But you know, you can't bank on anything unless they say, oh yeah, this is going to happen and this is the date. So I don't feel like you need to be upset at Squex for this. You know Setzer's coming. You just don't know when. You're going to pull him when he comes, and you're going to enjoy him, and he's going to last forever, and so who cares? It is what it is.
And just add on that, it's fuck. Oh, sorry, Mark. My focus is like shot. These later streams. I'm coming back. Oh, right. So holy, I need to stop drinking. Okay. Okay, no, I got this. Holy shit. Edit this out, Pierre. Like, holy fuck.
Pierre,
this is so bad. Please just cut out these 5 minutes of me stumbling over my words. But basically, with Setzer, oh my god, chat is right. Like, I just can't feel any sympathy for if you're planning this hard and you can't take, like, first, we've had precedents for this, right? Many delays in GL for sure.
Yeah.
We've had the Cater EX delay, which I remember was a big deal. People were bringing that up, right?
Cloud rework delay was big.
Tidus EX and Zell EX got switched. I mean, that's probably helped a lot of people, but no, not that didn't, because that fucked up plans.
Von
right?
delay.
Tidus was delay. Early, and then you got Zell. So, and then what it is with these changes, we've seen with Cater, right? Everyone had big plans to solo that latest entropy tier with Cater. That was when the rewards came out and everything, and she was shot back like over a week. And as you said, with the Cloud 35 delay, that's for day one players. Holy shit, that's so old. If you don't remember, guys, Cloud got a rework with his 35, and they didn't give it to us on global.
Yep.
Because they said that if
powerful.
Cloud got it, he would be too strong and dominate the game for too long. So they pushed his rework an entire tuning pass back. So the rework he should have got on his 35 CP came with his EX.
Yep.
Like, it was so far back that Cloud was just like, eh. So them pulling this shit isn't brand new. And also, anyone who's been playing this game for any amount of time, we know they constantly say GL and JP are not the same game. I feel like if you plan meticulously 8 months in the future, you're going to be disappointed. Like, GL first hit us, time travelers hit us. It just happens, right? And so you can't get upset. Some people were comparing this to Fix Kadaj. That's not the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, no. That's the hottest of the hot takes. This is not we got a character and that character's not working correctly. That's what Fix Kadaj is. If we got Setzer and he wasn't working correctly, that's an issue. We didn't get a character that we were never promised we were going to get at this time. That's a completely different issue. Yeah, come on.
Mark put it best, and I just want to reiterate. There is zero promise that we are following JP exactly. So please stop expecting us to follow JP to a T. This was another complaint in Joe's video, by the way, and we're just knocking these out. But I remember one of Joe's biggest complaint is that playing global is a little boring because it's too predictable. You can just look at JP and see what we're getting. So
surprise!
There you go. Joe, thank you for your video.
Check that one off too.
Yeah, Josh was clearly listening and he addressed all of your complaints. So schedule too predictable, let me cross that off. And diversity and content, let me cross that off. And meta making things too easy, let me cross that off. So yeah.
Good job. Yeah.
Good job.
Squex, we talk about, we want Squex to interact with us and be a little bit more, on the ball in terms of, being good to hear feedback and implement feedback. So thumbs up, Squex. Good job.
Yeah, they worked pretty fast. Josh, I take back all the things we talked about. Yeah, like we were a little angry that it took so long to acknowledge Kadaj, but clearly you overcorrected.
That took weeks. This was days.
Clearly you overcorrected. In 2 days you implemented all the feedback. So very good job. Yeah.
Yeah. Kit's too bloated. You have that was an issue. Shantotto, Noctis, Terra, real simple kits. That took like 5 minutes to kind of, they got a little bit better. Very nice. Very nice. So, so thank you. Thank you. I think everybody, this is a win for the community. I know, again, I think there's going to be a lot of negativity about tonight, about the Setzer thing. I think what we are determining in real time, and that's why we wanted to do the podcast a little later so we could live into this, right? I think what we're living into in real time, this is a win. This is a W for the whole community, for DFFOO. More engaged. I can't wait. I can't wait. These co-ops are going to be great, right? Because that was an issue, is more engaging co-ops. The co-ops aren't good enough. So I bet these co-ops are going to be the bomb. And we already know there's character enhancement points in the co-op shop. So I'm going to be more engaged because I'm going to want those enhancement points. I think I only have 150,000 enhancement points.
I only have 5,000, Mark.
How do you only have 5,000? I don't not level any. I got all kinds of characters mastered. How do you have 5,000 enhancement points? Are you serious? You seriously have 5,000 enhancement points? Oh, you're
getting every single person's character.
Do you not have?
No, I have the basic Mog Pass. I have the basic Mog Pass. By the way, I don't know if this is going to be this week or not, but I wanted to talk to you about. Do you feel diminishing returns on the Whale Pass yet? Because I've switched to the basic Mog Pass, and as of right now, we both have extremely veteran accounts, Mark. Yes. I don't know if you want to discuss this right now. We can just move this into the host discussion, right?
We are in the host discussion
we're in the host discussion, yeah. And so I've swapped to the basic Mog Pass quite a few months ago, and especially looking at my account now, I finally got 100% of all the EXs after Reno, thank God. So I don't need the EX tokens anymore. And for the BTs, I don't feel like I'm missing too much. Or at the very least, I feel like the value is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
What is it, like 10 months 10 months, which is almost $400 for a BT guarantee. Fuck that. So like I am getting the main pass for now. This might change when Ultima weapons come out, and they have extra Ultima weapon resources tied to that. But this is something that you brought up before Ultima weapons were revealed in JP. Like, there is a diminishing return on the Whale Pass, and I am super feeling that right now. Now that our accounts are where they are, Mark, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if you are a veteran.
Oh, sorry. Avalon's right. Sorry, it's 5 months because you get 10 BT tokens per month.
Yeah, 5 months. Yeah.
So that's like 200.
Still, yeah. No, so I mean the main reason I'm still missing, I'm still missing a few EXs. So the EX tokens are still useful for me. I've also used a lot of EX tokens because I've lucked into a lot of LDs, obviously. EX
tokens though enough to get like 3 or 4.
Oh, I have like 2 EX tokens.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because I use my EX tokens. If I pull an LD, I don't chase. Those are banners. Those are stupid badges. Where are the EX tokens? I have 7. Excuse me. So I have 7 EX tokens. So I don't even have enough for an EX because I used. If you look at history here, I used it on Core. I used it on Iroha. I used it on Null. I used it on Kadaj. I used it on Yang. Because they were, because
nice.
I got the LDs without getting the EXs. So I burned through my EX tokens. There's no reason to hold on to them. But yeah, I think right. I mean, if you are in a place where, you're not worried about the BTs, if you're got enough EX tokens, you got enough enhancement points, there's significant diminishing returns. I mean, for me, it's a way I support the game. All of you support us, so I mean, this is a way I support the game, and take what we get and give it back. And so I mean, I'm happy to do that, and buy a costume or so a month, depending on which costumes. I don't buy all the costumes. So it changes month by month which costumes I buy and which costumes I don't. But yeah, I do. I mean, I think from now until Ultimate Weapons, which is going to be a while still. Really the only reason to get the premium pass is to get the BT tokens. And depending on where you are, you may not really need them. I want as many as possible. So, I mean, I'll take as many extra BT tokens as I can get.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I would like to have be a little bit more incentivized. I would think the premium, if they really wanted to sell the premium Mog Pass, add some blue armor, some BT plus materials. Not a lot, not maybe a full one, but a little, one or two. Just that little extra edge. Although they're going to be selling those blue armor, and I'm sure those are selling. This is our fourth one, right? Third or fourth one that just got launched. So I'm sure they're selling those. And so
sure,
the whales are there's some things for the whales to spend money on. But yeah, I don't know that the premium Moogle Pass is the best investment right now. I think it's a nice way to support the game. I think even the basic Moogle Pass is a good way to support the game. I do look forward to when they become a little bit more useful with Ultimate Weapon mats. So, but
I like your idea of maybe a couple of nuggets or an ingot here and there for the Whale Pass, because I really do think if you're getting the Whale Pass just for the EXBT tokens, you're getting a little shortchanged on value. I truly believe that. I don't know if they'll ever implement that because Ultimate Weapons isn't far enough for them to care.
Right.
Or maybe they'll implement it after Ultimate Weapons. That's also a possibility. Avalon says, you guys are only saying this because you pull BTs. First of all, false, Avalon. I already proved I have less than the average number of BTs. Mark, though, he has every single BT. Avalon says, I do Whale Pass. I haven't pulled a BT since Estola, so I'm very happy to have the pass right now and collect these tokens to let me choose a BT weapon. That's very fair. You're right. Newer accounts probably very good. I think what I failed to clarify is the value for veteran accounts, I think. And Blank934 says, are they upgrading it at some point in the future? I seem to remember they added something more in JP, but I can't remember. Yes, in JP, they introduced Ultima Weapons, which are giant stat sticks that are far off. We'll talk about that when they get there. But basically, with the Whale Pass, you get almost double the amount of resources. So imagine getting almost double the amount of ingots when you're ingot locked behind EX pluses or HA pluses.
So Avalon, walk us through, because Avalon's saying, I'm a day one player, I'm just unlucky. Have not pulled a BT since Y'shtola. Y'shtola was back in April. So walk me through, since we're on discussion and I like to interact with chat here. Walk me through May, June, July, and August. So Terra, Garland, Golbez, Bartz, Eld, Lael, Cloud of Darkness, Tidus. How much have you pulled on those banners? Did you luck into LDs and not get the BTs? Pulled on basically every banner with either BTs or tickets. So what's this? Help me understand the story here. Are you getting LDs early? Several pities along the way. You're just unlucky. You're just unlucky.
Sorry,
it happens. I mean, it's a bell curve, right? There are people who are on that end, super unlucky. I'd still like to see the math, until I have the receipts. I don't want to judge in one way or the other, but because I keep meticulous records on all of this, so you can talk to me about luck and everything else. I have the receipts either way, so we can dig into the numbers because I think that's interesting. But it is, RNG kind of works on a bell curve, right? So there are some people on the end of the curve that are always getting free multi BTs. Those people are awful. Thank you, VL.
You, right?
My receipts are on my LD inventory. Thank you. That's how I keep track of it. Yeah, that's how you do it. That's why you don't do that. But then there are. I would argue it's probably there's not many on the end of super unlucky because most of those people probably quit. Unfortunately, like if you're super, but yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're struggling to get the BTs and you want to have them, it's still the only way to get the BT tokens. So
yeah, Cases, Josh, if you're listening, I really like the suggestion. Cases says what would really incentivize new players to pick up a whale pass would be power stones.
Yeah,
because that is the biggest gate.
Yes,
biggest gate for new
look
players.
at right here. Look at right here. 0 power stones. I feel you with that. Luck is great, but I have no power stones whatsoever.
Power stones are a huge choke for new players, and I only imagine that getting worse as they add more weapon tiers, right?
Yeah.
Because right now, a new player pulling a character needs 36 power stones. That's 36 dupes.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that is. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't have insight to their numbers. Maybe that's great for them. Maybe new players are pressured to spend even more to pull dupes so they can save on power stones. But power stones are almost nothing. If they were worth a lot, they wouldn't give us like 1 a week.
Yeah.
For dailies.
If there were J.A, if there's only some way that I could get some more power stones, I don't know what that would be, but if there was only some tool that I had to maybe unlock some power stones, you can help me figure that out. I don't know. Someday I'll have power stones, but there you go.
Thank you so much, guys. I think, Mark, if you're ready to move on, we have one more quick topic.
Yes.
Before I'm ready to close the show.
Perfect.
And Poto asks, and I feel like this is a very good thing to address with everything going on in the community right now. Poto asks, what keeps each of the hosts interested in DFFOO? Do you each feel different about the game, comparing it to when you started playing, and what do you enjoy about it? Mark, would you like to go first?
Yes. So what I enjoy now versus what I enjoyed when I started playing. So here's what I enjoy. I'm actually going to do assuming I have time, I'm actually going to do a video. It's not going to address this. It's going to address something similar to just a positive things about DFFOO. But what I like about the game now, as opposed to 3.5 years ago when I started playing, or however long ago, almost 4 years ago, right? I like every week we get a couple new characters, new toys, new things to play with. And I can get them. I can get everything pretty much, right? So I have enough resources. I can get whatever I want. It's nice. I like that. I like that I am always up to date on content. A new thing comes out, I do it, I'm done. And I like that because I've been playing this game for over 3 years, 3.5 years now. I actually know it inside and out. And so when you start a new mobile game or a new gacha, there's always gates. There's always, there's always all kinds of new things to learn. Sometimes that can be fun, but sometimes it's just not worth it. Sometimes, very truthfully, all the effort it takes to really learn and be good in a new gacha is just not worth what you get when you're done playing with it. And a lot of these gachas, other games, Disgaea, Nier, for example, they're grindy games once you get to end game. And so, it's hours and hours and hours of just grinding, as opposed to, I'm going to play these 3 fights and be done. And yes, I could grind co-op for days, but at the end of the day, I'm at max co-op because I've finished all the co-ops. You do co-ops for a few days that when you can do them, and you do maybe 5 co-ops a day and you're done. And so DFFOO is not this game that makes you just mindlessly grind just to keep up with content. You can do all the dailies in, you can log in on a day that doesn't have content drop. You can log in, and in less than 15 minutes, you can run 5 co-ops, do your Cactar quest, and be done with the game. And that probably is only going to take 10 minutes. And so on the average day when I got shit to do, 10 minutes is great for me. Like, that's good. And then when I have a little extra time during the week and I need something to do, I have time to actually engage in the content, because we'll get maybe, every 5 days we got something new. So then I'll have time to be able to spend some time with it. So, yeah. So I really like the game right now, because I'm used to it. I understand it. I know how it works. There's new things to get me interested. And I'll talk about some other things later in a future video. But for me, yeah, I mean, I enjoy DFFOO. I mean, I download and play every dumb gacha that comes out, right? But I still enjoy DFFOO more than anything. Yeah. And I haven't found another game in the last 3.5 years that I like more. So.
I agree, Mark. Trying to come up with a list myself, it's hard for me to just limit it down, but I'll try to keep it brief. I realize there's actually a lot of things I really like in this game. To some of the things I agree with you is the minimal time commitment. 100%. The only gacha that I stuck to long term before DFFOO was Fire Emblem Heroes.
Yeah.
And I think I only did 6 or 8 months on that before it felt like futile to keep up. Like, like I just could not keep up with the power creep as free to play.
Right.
And the other thing is, before that, I've played other gachas with insane time schedules. They want you to be on it for hours a day. Not only that, but with a stamina system, you felt pressured to log in a couple times a day and spend all your stamina, which could take a long time.
Yeah.
And when I tried to play those seriously, I felt chained to my fucking phone, and I hated it because, as I've said so many times, I only play games on my phone when I have like a few minutes between commutes, or if I'm waiting in the dentist's office, et cetera, et cetera. That's how I like to enjoy my mobile gaming.
Yeah.
And I hate that this shit ass game for profit would dictate my schedule. I'm sure anyone who is hardcore, you would set alarms to when your stamina refresh.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not kidding. That's very
no.
common.
Oh, I've told you about, it wasn't a gotcha, but I used to play competitive mobile games and guild-based mobile games. And yeah, you'd have to set your alarm to like participate in raids at various different, like every 3 hours, every 4 hours, all weekend. In Battle Nations, it was literally 3 days, like 3 straight days, and you had to do it like every 4 hours, and your entire guild had to be on at that moment for you to get enough points to be one of the top ranking guilds. And we did that. And yeah, that's not good. I mean, that's touch grass, as BC would say.
Yeah.
Do something else.
DFFOO is the only one I feel like I have so much control over the schedule. It just fits flawlessly into my schedule that I can't even see myself playing another gacha game.
Well, and at this point, I mean, at this point, I have Disgaea and Nier on my phone. And I'm not even really doing. I'm just like logging in, and then if I have some extra time and I don't want to read a book or do something, and there's nobody around, I'll play the story, and that's kind of all I want from those games right now. I don't want to do end game content. I don't want to grind relentlessly. I just kind of want to hang out and if there's something else to do, it's something on my phone. But I mean, I could just download Candy Crush, very truthfully at this point, right? I just don't really like those games. So.
Actually, one of the only other phone game I play a lot, Mark, is a match 3 type of game on my phone. Right.
Right. No. Right.
In between things. Right. So right. Exactly. Like, we like games that let you control your pace. So that's one of the things I like best about DFFOO. The second thing, I'll keep this at 3, even though now I'm just realizing I like so many things about this game. The second thing is that I do not feel pressured to spend, and I am a single adult with a lot of expendable cash, so I spent very stupidly on a lot of my hobbies. So here's the thing. If I open a game like Nier and I see paid only banners, I check out instantly.
Yeah.
If like Fire Emblem Heroes, the only reason it kept my interest as long as it did was because they promised horizontal progression. So what that means is instead of getting new tools that like so FF14 is vertical progression.
Yeah.
Every time new content comes out, the item level increases, you get stronger and stronger, your stats go up. FF11 is horizontal progression and Guild Wars where when new content comes out, it's not that you get objectively stronger stuff. You get stuff that is about the same level but used for different things. So, quick example is Fire Emblem Heroes. Anyone who's played Fire Emblem, it starts with a triangle. Spears beat swords, swords beat axes, axes beat spears. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, so I want to get a good spear unit. I want to get a good, like it stayed pretty flat for a couple of months. And then it skyrocketed with the power creep where things were literally just objectively worse and the newer units had
Yes.
literally more stats. It was
Yeah.
horrible. That's when I quit. So when when it feels like a game really wants to milk my money just for me to enjoy it, I check out instantly. And so with DFFOO, so fucking generous. No matter how much people complain about um their money grubbing tactics, I feel bad to shill for it and say it could be so much worse
Oh,
because you really could ride certain characters
if
for a very long
if
time.
Mino and I were in charge, it would be much worse. This game would be so much more predatory. Um, I mean, there would be we'd be having summer campaigns. There would be so many bikinis. Um, None of you would have any money. It would be terrible.
Right. And so, like the fact that power creep was a little more steady in the early days, right? I think it took a while for everyone to get their 35 CPs. It got a little crazy during EX,
Yeah.
but then it balanced out in EX Plus again, where none of us had to pull for the longest time. Then LDBTs came and got crazy, but once again, it's balancing out, right? The power creep is slowing down so that in JP you can pull any LDBT plus and make it through just fine. So it doesn't feel very pressured. And when um when a game isn't like constantly asking for my money,
Yeah.
I am I more freely spend personally. Personally, now I will buy every costume. I know I'm nowhere close to a whale. I drop about $70 a month, but that's still a lot more than I would drop on like any single game, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
yeah, like if I buy a game on Steam, it's like 30, $40 one-time deal. They've got an easy $70 from me a month, and I know that I'm still probably not the target audience because I don't know how much they're profiting off of numbers like that, but I'll gladly spend. Um, and the final thing is I really love the core gameplay. People can bitch about the gameplay as much as they want, but in terms of turn-based, hardcore turn-based RPGs, this is among the top. I am not kidding. Can you guys name me more challenging turn-based RPGs? Especially one that's a game as a service that constantly adds content. Like, this is where I get my turn-based RPG itch. This is as good as it gets, in my opinion. And the thing is, and the complaint about meta and synergy making things too easy, once again, I had the conversation with Lemu and we were talking about balance changes. And I said, look, it's a gotcha. I accept that gotchas are made for profit more than other games. Like they focus on minimal effort for maximum profit more than, say, like a AAA game. Uh, they're here to milk money, and I'm okay with that. Here's the thing, synergy should be pay to win. And it's getting to that point, and that's perfectly fine. And as BC said, before you actually me about pay to win, the thing is you're spending resources to pull synergy to have an easier time. Synergy literally exists to remove challenge. Because not only do these characters check all the mechanics by themselves, their stats are unnecessarily boosted to almost double what a normal character's stats should be. It's fucking ridiculous, right? And because DFFOO is a little too generous because they give you like 75k gems a month. That's a pity a month. And then if you're very, very studious, you can save up more gems than that. If you played any other gacha, it's usually a pity every 4 months or 4 to 6 months. One pity every 4 to 6 months. Imagine having one synergy character every 4 to 6 months. Imagine not having 2 week synergy. These characters are only synergy for a single event. Imagine that. Gotchas are balanced around that. Gotchas are balanced around having one easy pay to win character once every couple of months. DFFOO is balanced like that, except they give you resources to pity once a month. It's way too much. It's ridiculous, honestly. And so the game is still balanced that you can beat all of this content without synergy. That's how the game is balanced. It's just that if you have synergy, you have the very easy mode. You're basically turning the game on easy mode and just destroying content. You don't have to worry about mechanics, as Mark loves to say. I didn't even know this fight had mechanics. I used a full synergy team. Like I didn't know what was happening. I just pressed buttons, and that's perfectly okay. But the thing is, I love so many things about this game that if the only thing bothering me is difficulty, that's very easy to fix on my end.
Yeah.
And that's why I invented the TCC challenges, and we do this as a community, right? Like I love the gameplay. I think personally, I think it's too easy running synergy all the time. So I said all I have to do is not run synergy, and all of a sudden I'm having fun with the game again. That's how I feel. That's why I push TCC challenges for people like for other content creators like Joe who are saying like the game needs to force me to not run meta. I get it, right? The argument is it's on the game. The game should challenge me. I shouldn't have to use my own efforts to make up for what the game lacks. I understand that argument, but the reality is we can see 8 months into the future. And we can see that that's not changing anytime soon. If anything, it's getting worse. So you can either be miserable for 8 months and quit, or you could just take it into your own hands to balance the difficulty a little more to your liking.
You can play JP and stomp everything with synergy.
Right. Like at the end of the day, I just think you're gonna be better off in life if you know how to make your own happiness or find your own happiness than relying on external factors to make you happy.
I think that's great life advice. If you're looking for other people or other things to make you happy, you will always be disappointed. Happiness comes from within. Use your seasoning analogy. What's the seasoning?
My God. Okay, so this is an analogy I thought was amazing, but I got trashed on the ranting hour. And I said difficulty levels are like seasoning. Yeah, you remember? So I was like, if the game is food, if life is food, difficulty levels are like seasoning. Everyone's gonna everyone can use seasoning to, tweak things to their own taste. And that's why all restaurants, no matter how fancy, give you the seasonings, because no matter how revered the chef is, everyone has different tastes.
Yeah.
And everyone can use seasoning to tweak it to their personal taste. So I truly believe that it is better. Like, if you think the game is too easy and you're going to get bored, just don't do it. I don't understand. I think I said it on my text reply to Lemu, which is, the ancient joke of a man goes to the doctor, says, "It hurts when I do this." And doctor says, "Then just stop doing that." Like, why are you purposely making yourself miserable? Like, if it's as easy, you can't be like, the game should cater to me and it should force me to be challenged.
Yeah, so Inkwelder is saying, Inkwelder, who loves analogies, is saying it's like a buffet. So if you go to a buffet and you eat, because the buffet wants you to spend the least amount of money to eat the least amount of food and the cheapest food, right? So that's why you have a salad bar, you fill up, you get the sugary drinks. But, so if you go and you say like the steak and shrimp cocktail is the most expensive thing. So I'm going to eat 3 steaks and a dozen shrimp. but you hate steak and shrimp and it makes you sick and you're allergic to shellfish, but you keep doing it because this is what they want me to do. I'm going to beat the system and you're miserable. Then yeah, that's on you. That's all I'm saying.
So,
all right.
No, that's the final thing. Closing thought is just that if you like so many things about a game and it's just one or two things putting you off and it's within your power to tweak that, I don't think that's necessarily the game's fault. And we're not just talking games. We're talking like movies, books, TV shows. Like, no media is going to be instantly perfect for you. And I don't think you should automatically abandon anything that doesn't like somebody asked a dating thing. We'll answer that in the future. But it's like, I don't think you should abandon things if one or two things put you off. And I think Mark has a lot to say on this as a Star Wars fan. I am positive Mark does not enjoy every single facet of every single Star Wars release, but I am sure he probably looks on the bright side. Like, it's not this new Star Wars movie or show is shit because it didn't go exactly the way I wanted to. He's probably like, hey, 90% of this I love. Like, I like the new concepts. I like this and this and this. Like you're going to be a much happier person if you focus on what you gain instead of the tiny little things are missing. Mark, did you want to do a Star Wars rant?
I could talk about Star Wars forever. You all know that. But yeah, this is not a Star Wars podcast. If you want to listen to a Star Wars podcast, I suggest Rebel Force Radio. They're a great Star Wars podcast. And I've been on it, so you can go back and listen to some of those. But I think we've done enough analogies. Looking ahead as we wrap up this episode, and we'll stick around for the post show if you want to hang out with us for a little bit, get in chat here. Talk to you guys in chat, I should say. Boss Rush is the 25th. That should be Titus and Leon LD first, or a new LD Leon. The next part of the Perfectum, the Equinox Aurora, will be on the 30th. We don't know what to expect. There will be a free multi-poll. Thank you, Arrow, for the sub. Toto hype. And then the Squex community stream is the 31st. So we'll look forward to what's coming next month. Hey, for Mino Spellgood and Mark and Arrow and all of our team, this has been episode 163 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded on August 19, 2021. You all have a great day. Enjoy this new content. Good luck on your polls, and we'll be back next week. Always check out our YouTube. There might be some videos around, but hang out for the post show and we'll keep chatting.